Testing 1, 2. Okay, I can hear myself. Now can you hear me, media? Good, huh? Okay, good. Ladies and gentlemen, just bear with us a little bit more. We're starting about 7:15-ish or so, about 5 more minutes. Yeah, I see a lot of you came here very, very early because traffic, right? So you came before the traffic, and we really appreciate you guys coming 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m. Have you had your dinner, ladies and gentlemen? I see some of you are bearing flags and also banners already. Over there, the tentages, you can also help to purchase some merchandise from the team. And when you purchase any of this merchandise, what you are doing is you are actually helping us out. For 10 years, we have not had any rallies at all. More than 10 years, in fact. And without these rallies, we cannot generate funds enough for the team to function as much as we can for you. So really help us out tonight by getting yourselves and perhaps your family, your friends to go over to the tentages, buy a teddy bear, buy a book. All these funds go to the team. Yeah? Tonight we will have Akmal to start off the evening later on at 7:15. He is a volunteer for the Bukit Panjang team. So he has been helping Dr. Paul for quite a while already. And he's a young chap. We really need you to help to encourage him later on when he comes on stage, yeah? So I'm not going to ask you to start yet. Give us a few more minutes to sort out some more technical difficulties, and we will give you a rousing evening tonight, yeah? You want to start first? I want to go on stage first. But we have to go on stage to at least let them know that we're there. We start in 2 more minutes time. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, wow. Can you hear me out there? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you lift up your arms and give a rousing cheer for us so that we know you're there, please?
It's a good evening. Welcome. We're glad to have all of you here.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Chua Chu Kang Stadium tonight. And tonight is the first of 9 rallies that we're going to have across Singapore. Yeah, every single night we'll be having.
As an SDP member, I can say that we're always really ambitious and we're always here to give you more than you expect.
Tonight, both of us are emceeing for the first time. So give chance a little bit, everybody. Without further ado, we would just like to introduce the first speaker of the evening. And the first speaker is, as I mentioned earlier, Akmal. So Akmal is a very devoted volunteer for Dr. Paul in Bukit Panjang. And so I would like to invite everybody to give him a rousing round of applause, please, for Akmal for the first speech for tonight.
Akmal is a member of the Young Democrats, and you've probably also seen him around in pictures. He regularly accompanies Dr. Paul, as Jay has said, and he also is really involved in a lot of our activities and programs as well. So Akmal is going to be talking you through some of his thoughts and sharing his ideas with all of you as well. So take it away, Akmal.
Thank you all for coming down to Choa Chu Kang Stadium. I can see that many of you who already are here at about 6 o'clock. And on behalf of the Singapore Democratic Party, we thank you and appreciate you. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Good evening, fellow Singaporeans. My name is Akmal. I'm 24 years old and I'm proud to stand before you today, not just as a member of the Singapore Democratic Party, but as a young Singaporean who believes in a better future, a fairer future, a future for all of us. I joined the SDP at the age of 19. Why? Because I believe politics is the heartbeat of real change. And real change doesn't happen by accident. It takes courage, purpose, and conviction. That's why I'm here. And that's why I chose this movement. And why the SDP? For one simple reason. Because of you. Because our policies, our vision, and our mission are built around people, not corporations, not ultra-wealthy people. You, the everyday Singaporean who works hard, support your family, and dreams of a fair shot in life. We don't chase profits at the expense of people. We don't push policies that leave Singaporeans behind, while a select few grow richer. We put people first, always. So let me ask you tonight, do you want to be exploited? One more time. I'll ask you tonight, do you want to be exploited? Do you want to keep watching while the cost of living rises, wages stay low, and your voices get ignored? Or do you want a Singapore that works for all of us? Yes. Well, if you answer no to the first two and yes to the last, then the choice is clear. It is the SDP. Let's talk about housing. It's something that's on the minds of many young people today, and I'm no different. Right now, I'm planning to settle down, and when I look at the BTO prices, I'll be honest with you, I almost fainted. I'm not exaggerating, but that's just the reality we are facing. Sure, some people say, you can just use your CPF. Our out of pocket, very little. But here's the next problem. If all our CPF goes to paying our housing loan, we need to take super long mortgage. How long are we expected to live with this burden? 20, 30, or even 35 years, just for a basic need, just to have a home. Let me be real with you. My partner isn't a Singaporean, just like the 36% of you. And because of that, under the current HDB rules, I can only buy a 2-room flexi flat or a resale unit. Okay lah, I accept that. But when I check the resale market, over $500,000, $500,000 for a flat. How are young couples supposed to afford that? After paying the mortgage every month, I might as well eat grass already. Is this kind of housing future we want? Is this what we are offering the next generation of hardworking Singaporeans? And yet, the PAP government keeps telling us make more babies. They think some vouchers, GST rebates, and baby bonuses will suddenly inspire us to start a family. How? How are we supposed to even think about having children when you are struggling or when we are struggling to afford the basics? When housing is unaffordable, when everyday costs are rising, and when every month feels like a financial balancing act, what we need are not handouts. We need structural change. We need long-term solutions that actually bring down the cost of living, not short-term cash that disappears in a month. And by saying in a month, I'm being very optimistic. Because let's be honest, how can we raise a child with care, stability, and dignity when we ourselves are barely coping? Correct or not? Yes. Correct or not? Yes. This isn't just about money problem. It's a systemic problem and issue, a deep-rooted issue that needs bold and courageous reform. And until that happens, no amount of baby bonuses will fix anything. That's why the choice is clear. The choice is the Singapore Democratic Party. We don't just talk about supporting families. We fight for it. We don't cover cracks with payouts. We fix the foundations. If you want a Singapore that truly supports young families, that builds a future where no one is left behind, then stand with the SDP. To all the young voters out there, think twice before you give the PAP another blank check for the next 5 years. After decades of their rule, ask yourself this: why are we still coping instead of striving? Why are young Singaporeans still burdened with housing debt, high living costs, and the constant stress of chasing a future that keeps slipping away? If nothing has changed all this while, what makes you think it will change now? And to the parents, those who are more stable in life, who walk the hard path, I ask you this: do you want your children to walk the same path or even a worse one? Yes. If things carry on like this, how will they afford a home? How will they start a family? And how will they live with dignity? We need a Singapore where every generation can strive, not just survive. That's why this election matters. Vote for the SDP. Vote for a party that dares to care, that dares to speak up, that dares to put people first. Let's rise together, not just to cope, but to build a future where we all strive, but not just survive. Thank you, Singaporeans.
Thank you, Akmal.
Akmal's views represent a lot of young people's perspectives as well. We've heard heartfelt sentiments about his hopes and dreams for the future. And we want to stand behind him to support the next generation. Do we want to support the next generation? Yes! Yes, we do!
Akmal is basically you. Akmal is basically the young you. The young you that is facing today's housing market. So I hope what he has said has projected some of your fears, some of your worries, some of your concerns. Yeah? Before we start today's evening of speakers, perhaps we need to introduce ourselves.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming here. We are so happy to have you with us. My name is Min. I'm the Head of Communications of SDP, and this is Jay, our esteemed...
No esteemed, I'm just a videographer and also a volunteer.
Nice to have you here. So now, are you ready to roll tonight? Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, I see the crowd at the back is already gathering in force already. Those who are at the back, you are too far away. So we would like, no, you don't have to look at the back. You are at the back already. So you all can come closer together. so that we can see you. You can see us. If you want to take videos or pictures of our candidates as well, please do so. Now, without further ado as well, we would like to introduce the first candidate for tonight. And tonight, the first candidate coming up to speak is Damanuri bin Abbas.
Put your hands together. Welcome, Damanuri Abbas.
So let me introduce Daman first. Those of you who saw his video that went viral yesterday at the nomination day, his pantun was basically very, very catchy. So Daman himself joined SDP in 2015 and contested in 2020. Contested in 2015 and thereafter also 2020. Prior to that, he was also an active volunteer in Malay community. As an undergraduate of NUS, he served as president of NUS Malay Language Society and also volunteered at a welfare home for troubled youths. After graduating, he began his career in an organization running programs for youths at risk and out-of-school youths. So in that sense, he has a lot of empathy for people in need. Some 7 years later, he started an educational business focusing on motivational and enrichment programs for students and once again youths. He was then headhunted to join a regional educational project funded by Temasek Foundation, centered on Indonesia, Thailand, Fiji. He also has a Master of Arts in Education Management from the NIE. He holds a bachelor's degree in Architectural Studies and also a diploma in counseling. He has served as the management board member of 2 mosques over a period of 10 years, holding positions of secretary and treasurer already. On top of that, as a side from politics, he is an avid sepak takraw enthusiast and has represented all educational institutes he studied in, from primary all the way to NUS. Today, he is married with 5 children, but now he is here to voice out for you. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first rally after 10 years. So, respected voters, this election gives you the opportunity to pass a strong message to the PAP. Are you better off after 5 years of having this current PAP government? The new Prime Minister, Mr. Lawrence Wong, wants a mandate from us, the people. He may be the new Prime Minister, but behind that smiley face is the same old PAP that ignored all your complaints and continue to increase the GST, making us pay even more than we did 5 years ago for our bread, eggs, milk, rice, sugar, oil, baby diapers, and even adult diapers of our elderly parents, making us ever poorer than we were 5 years ago, having to spend more money today. So, should we give him that strong mandate he asked for? No. Do you think he listens to us if we simply gave him the strong mandate? No. Now he tells you about the US tariffs impacting us and how it puts our jobs at potential risk, counting on that fear to cause you to play safe and vote for the PAP. What he doesn't tell you is that even before these US tariffs appearing on the scene, the PAP did little to protect your jobs and support you, the workers. They allowed for many years foreigners to take away your jobs, making many of us who are squeezed out of the job market with little choice but to resort to short-term fixes to make ends meet. They tell us to go for training and learn new skills with no guarantee of a secure, lasting job with a decent living wage. They refuse to call for a minimum wage and give excuses after excuses, while companies make tons of profit at our collective expense. Do you think our bad job situation for local Singaporeans will get better if we give him that strong mandate? Well, after 5 years, did our job situation improve? Did our salary increase? We pay more for many things, not only because of increasing GST, but also because the PAP government refused to do the things that they actually can do to prevent those increases. For example, the rental on commercial and industrial properties that continue to increase even for properties that they owned by them, managed by the government, that could have easily intervened to reduce the rent. We need to know why they refuse to reduce it, especially when they are making huge profits from the rental of commercial premises. It seems they rather spread the burden of increased costs to businesses on us, the people, for being consumers instead of doing the right thing to reduce rental costs for premises they own or manages. If the PAP government did not listen to calls for them to reduce rent as the biggest landlord in Singapore for the last 5 years, do you think they will do it now if you give them the mandate? No. These are just some examples for us to think about this election. When you hear them asking for a strong mandate, giving them the strong mandate will not improve our life. Instead, it will increase their likelihood to continue what they have been doing all the time and making our life even worse for the next 5 years. And I have not even mentioned about the skyrocketing price of our so-called affordable public housing. Voters, we in the SDP stands in this election presenting reasons for you to consider us as your fresh new MPs, to truly speak for you about those things your present MP was silent about in Parliament for the last 5 years. Issues that matters that would have helped to reduce the high cost of living. What your present MPs are not allowed to speak freely about because they had different priority and serves different interests and not your interests. We will speak up for you in Parliament because we place people before profit, workers before bosses, jobs for Singaporean before others, immigration policy that is pro-Singaporean and not pro-bosses, that are controlled and regulated to really benefit workers and not fatten the boss's bottom line only. Para pengundi, pilihan raya ini memberi kita peluang terbaik untuk menyampaikan isyarat jelas kepada pemerintah PAP keperihan kita menanggung beban kos sara hidup yang terus meningkat. Mereka gagal mendengar keluhan rakyat memikul kenaikan GST pada masa harga hampir semua barangan seharian semakin mahal. Tidak masuk akal sama sekali untuk mereka menaikkan GST. Suara rakyat yang mendesak mereka untuk menghentikan kenaikan GST saja tidak diambil kira. Apa agaknya yang akan membuat pemerintah PAP ini dengar suara kita? PAP hanya akan mendengar suara rakyat apabila kita gunakan kuasa mengundi kita dengan bijak dan tepat, menolak mereka kali ini dan memilih calon SDP untuk menjadi wakil rakyat anda di Parlimen. Ini adalah hakikat sifat sebuah parti politik di manapun. Mereka hanya akan berubah apabila kita sebagai pengundi bertindak dengan kuasa di tangan kita untuk mengalih pilihan dari satu parti ke parti yang lain. Jadi anda perlu gunakan kuasa anda sebagai rakyat untuk mengubah nasib kita bersama. Jika mereka berdiam saja dan tidak menyuarakan kesusahan anda selama 5 tahun di Parlimen yang lalu, adalah wajar untuk anda memilih wakil rakyat yang lain yang bersedia untuk lantang menjadi suara anda di Parlimen. Ini hanya merupakan satu contoh di mana wakil rakyat gagal menjalankan tanggungjawab utama mereka untuk mewakili anda di Parlimen. Bagi kita masyarakat Melayu, lebih penting lagi untuk anda memilih seorang wakil rakyat yang jujur dan berani memperjuangkan semua isu-isu yang menjejas masyarakat kita seperti sistem meritokrasi yang rosak, kepimpinan masyarakat yang menjadi alat kuasa PAP, badan-badan Melayu Islam yang tidak bebas bertindak sepenuhnya untuk kepentingan masyarakat, juga mendesak untuk melakukan audit bebas terhadap badan seperti MUIS, Mendaki yang menggunakan dana Baitul Mal tanpa pemantauan apapun dari masyarakat. Sepanjang kempen pilihan raya ini, kami akan memperincikan satu persatu apakah manfaat besar yang masyarakat kita boleh perolehi apabila anda memilih seorang wakil rakyat SDP sebagai suara kerabat anda di Parlimen. Dengan penerangan dan kefahaman yang anda akan dapat nanti, ia akan membantu anda untuk membuat keputusan adil dan bijak untuk mengundi. Setiap 5 tahun, PAP akan menakut-nakutkan anda seolah-olah tanpa PAP, dunia akan kiamat. Yakinlah pengundi kami dari SDP jauh daripada perkara itu. Malah kami akan bekerja sekeras-kerasnya untuk mula mencorakkan kembali kehidupan anda ke arah membina syurga di dunia, insya-Allah. Respected voters, vote for a team that places Singaporeans, you first, and your interests first. Vote into Parliament your SDP MP to be your voice, speaking up for you. Thank you very much. Good night.
So thank you once again to Daman. Can we give a more rousing applause for this evening? Not for us, but for you. Because you are here and you are braving the drizzle, which we have no idea whether it will turn into rain or not, but I have full confidence that you will stay regardless throughout the whole evening to support our candidates.
It may rain, but our spirits will not be dampened.
Thank you, thank you. Once again, I just need to sell koyok a bit. Over there at the tentages, we would like to implore you guys during the intervals or any point of time or on your way out perhaps to help the team, the SDP team, by purchasing some of our merchandise, whether it's the teddy bear, the books, or even the t-shirt, the Tak Boleh Tahan t-shirt. Yes, there is a t-shirt that says Tak Boleh Tahan. And those of you who know that it came from something that happened in 2008. Right? You can Google that, but we will not bore you with the details for now.
The SDP is a party of struggle, but we struggle to fight the good fight for all of you, for all Singaporeans. So we need your support to keep our campaign going. We want you to thrive and not just survive.
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce very quickly our next candidate, Alfred Tan. Can we first give him a round of applause, please? Now, Alfred is a businessman. He's an entrepreneur with many years of international banking, corporate finance, business management, and industry experience, not just in Singapore, but the region. His keen understanding of business and economic environment were honed through running businesses for major global banks and companies domestically and in Asia. He hopes to contribute to nation building so that Singapore will progress as a first world democratic nation, standing tall and responsibly together with both immediate neighbors and the world at large. Alfred is also a patriotic Singaporean who believes in building an ever-improving society where every single one of you, whether you are young, like my daughter over there, or you are teenager, or you are 20s, 30s, 50s. He hopes for a society where every single one of us can discover oneself and is able to reach your potential. Today, Alfred is here, having been volunteering and organizing various activities for the community since his youth. And without further ado, can I invite Alfred on stage to give you his address. With rousing applause, please.
Put your hands together for Alfred Tan.
Dear residents of Marsiling-Yew, Sembawang, SMC, Sembawang, GRC, and Bukit Panjang. I'm Alfred Tan, the SDP candidate for the Sembawang GRC. We gather here tonight because we have serious business to discuss. We have suffered much from the extremely high cost of living here in Singapore. Life is difficult for us. Life is stressful for us. Is it so? Yes! Before the GE, the PAP MPs and ministers have scolded us, telling Singaporeans to take it all in our stride, saying that it is our fault, saying that we were stupid and wasteful because we should stop choosing pasta instead of eating wonton mee. They also say that it is our foolish fault that we should stop thinking of having meals in restaurants and instead to suck it up and eat at hawker centers. All these PAP ministers and MPs, all living in their high ivory towers, telling us peasants and slaves that we are not worthy to have a decent meal, ask us to stop dreaming and just focus on working hard because we are not worthy of a comfortable life. They think it is our fault because we are sick, we are weak, we are poor, we are hungry. We don't know how to live a simple peasant life. They must have thought that we were too foolish and stupid to dream that we should deserve better. Elitist MPs, elitist ministers, elitist party. These PAP ministers and MPs say that the high cost of living is not their fault. They blame external forces. They blame the US, China. They blame the US dollars. They blame everybody, everything, anything, anybody, all except themselves. Right. Now let me show you one example in case you think I'm talking nonsense. In March 2020, the COE of Cat A cars is 32,700. In 2025, 5 years later, the COE is 95,000, a 189% increase, almost 2 times. Okay, cars, luxury. Let's talk about motorcycles. The COE of motorcycles based on the QP, March 2020, $4,000. In 2025, 5 years later, how much was the PNP for motorcycles? 8,700. More than 100% increase. My dear fellow friends, this is a piece of paper created by the PAP government. You can't blame this on global inflation. You can't blame this on supply chain issues. You can't blame tariffs. It's just a piece of paper that is created by the PAP government's policies. And they still say they did not create the problem. They have no fault. 60 years ago, when the PAP was in the opposition, they say they are for the people. They work for the people. Now, at this GE time, I tell you, they will again pretend to bend down, bow down and say they want to serve you. They are your servant leaders. Please give them a chance. Please give them their votes. And once GE is over, the true character shows up. After GE, what it is say, go back to your lousy school. They say no flooding, just ponding. What else they say? They say no money to buy chicken. What do? Go buy fish. No space to start a family? A closet space is enough. This group of politicians cannot be trusted. They do not care. They will say anything so that they can get what they want from you. You are an inconvenience to them. They want a smooth, rich, enjoyable life. They don't like to be annoyed by your complaints, your dreams, your aspirations, your hope for a better life. Don't trust these liars. And don't just believe. Think and recall the pain you felt, the frustrations you have encountered when you try to balance your cash, deciding what to buy, deciding what is necessary, deciding what is really needed, deciding what to give up. Remember that pain when you decide on your vote for life for the next 5 years. Do you want your future generations to have more of this? You call this the good life? SDP does not want you to just survive. We want you to thrive, to be better, to enjoy life. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. To say that after working so hard, that the fruits that you enjoy is meaningful. The work that you did is fulfilling. My other colleagues will talk more about the better life, the life that SDP envisions. They will talk more about how to put more cash back into your hands. They will talk more about how we can lower your housing costs. They will talk about how we aim to provide a more affordable healthcare system so that you can have better health and not more mental stress. Let SDP bring your voices, your dreams, your aspirations into Parliament. We will listen. We will speak for you. We are not white. We are red, full of courage, full of energy. It is time for a change. We are SDP. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. And can we once again give him a round of applause for that very, very impassionate plea together?
And next up, all right. And next up, we have Dr. Jijin Wong. Now, Jijin is an extremely passionate advocate of many issues, of which Jay will elaborate. And she's here to share her perspective with us as a member of the Marsiling-Yew team. So we're really, really happy to have her with us.
Dr. Jijin Wong is a seasoned business leader with more than 30 years of experience in finance, HR, procurement, admin, general management, not just in Singapore, but also with extensive experience in China. She holds a doctorate in international business, a master's degree in professional accounting, a bachelor's degree in HR management. Today, she is here as a full-time caregiver to her father, who is 87 years old, with dementia, but also as a representative of all of you. Can we give her a round of applause? Yuan-Qi-Jun.
Dr. Jijin Wong, let's welcome her. She's going to blow you away.
各位阿兄、阿嫂、阿伯、安弟，恁人好？恁人大，真侪人食公当袂晓听，所以呢，我今日是食番薯糜来解。我是真真爱潮州人，潮州阿妹吼。除了用金钱来定义教育以外，人民行动党是否对教育是什么？新加坡人是谁？我们希望成为怎么样的国家？我们现有的体系能够帮助我们的社会应对迫在眉睫的困难吗？美国驻新加坡大使的观察员指出，新加坡的教育重背史书、读死册，轻判断思维、创造力，袂晓 creative， 袂晓什么想，逐摆读死册 ，OK？ 我们的教育是基于英国的模式，高度重视考试，并在早期的时候就分流了高、中、低的制度，到现在也没有什么太大的改变。新加坡民主党其中的一则宣言就是促进创造力和平等的教育转型的议程。我们新加坡的教育体系存在两大的缺陷。首先，它无法培养一个国家应对21世纪的全球经济挑战的能力，因为参与者的创造力、创新力、变通能力的需求是日新月异的。基于李光耀先生的理念，我们的学校继续将国家的资源过度的分配给精英阶层，从而加剧了不公平的对等。你们知道吗？我们新加坡 RI 的学校每间课室都有空调的哦。因为李光耀先生曾经说过，有 aircon 的地方人家就会读书比较厉害，比较会想东西，创造力比较好。那么我想请问，我们的孩子们现在的课室是没有 aircon 的，我们想要给他们读得更好的书，我希望我们的学校将来都会有 aircon 给我们的孩子吹 aircon。新加坡民主党提出了一份替代性的方案的政策，是在弥补这些的不足，因为我们的国家为我们的国家提供一个重视孩子学习的教育方式的体系。我们希望点燃年轻人的心灵，引导他们发现创造性的自我，而不是仅仅的教他们如何在考试中取得好的成绩。任何想要建设包容性的社会的国家，都不能忽视有特殊需求的孩童的处境。尽管政府已经成立了将残疾儿童纳入了普通的学校机制，但仍需付出更多的努力。根据我们新加坡民主党的计划，政府将接管特殊教育，并将此类的服务聚集化，这是 centralized 的，来帮助那些有特殊需求的孩童们。最终的目标是帮助我们的孩子发挥他们真正的潜力，实现自我的价值。如果我们能够做到这一点，我们将不仅受益于一支才华横溢的劳动队伍，更重要的是，我们将受益一支富有思考和关注人民的队伍。教育 必须是每个人学会自我，并在学习的过程中努力改善人类生存的条件过程。我们必须让我们的孩子做回孩子，我们应该鼓励他们阅读、玩耍、自我发挥，成为自己，为自己而活。教育的目的是应该让指引学生们的学习，而不是强迫他们去学习，开启他们天生的探索、好奇的心灵。接下来，我想跟大家分享一下新加坡这个教育制度对我的感受。其实，新加坡这个教育制度，我并没有太多的 benefit 到。为什么呢？跟你们分享一下我一些经历。我呢，小时候呢，我17岁的时候，我父母就离婚了。我家里呢是排行老大，我是大姐啦。在我17岁的时候，我爸爸妈妈离婚了，然后家里呢是比较困苦。我跟每一个年轻的人都一样，都想要上大学，都有一个想学习的梦。我家里兄弟姐妹5个，今天我的妹妹有可能在场了，在里面，不懂在哪里了，等下你们可以去看看啊。然后我很想读书，我很喜欢读书的，可是家里兄弟姐妹那么多，那么钱也没那么多，所以我一天呢是打3份工。我呢去教补习，然后我也去工厂去做那个矮蛙的那个流水线的焊工啊，焊那个矮蛙，以前那个矮蛙那个earphone那个 company 啦。然后呢，晚上我还去找底菇。有些老人家应该知道什么是找底菇啦，就是 illegal hawker 拿着东西，拿了底菇一来就跑掉咯 ，environment officer 来我就跑掉咯，所以很辛苦的赚了一些钱。当时呢，我17岁的时候，我赚了80块钱啊，我很开心呢，因为那时候80块钱很多钱，我就跑去 computer center， 因为那个时候80年代读 computer 是一个很 in 的东西，是一个很先进的东西咯，所以我就跑去 computer center 要去报名读 computer course。当时我去 computer center 的时候，我看到那个 course， 因为当时没有 internet， 没有什么电话也没有的，所以你要跑去那边看的，只有报纸在登而已嘛。我跑去那边看的时候，那个 course 说要300块钱，我才拿了80块钱。当时我很伤心很难过，我读不了 computer course， 这个是我的梦想。然后我就很伤心的从那 computer center 下来了。我下来的时候我很难过，我看到对面，有一个 center 放着 bookkeeping accounting。那个年代我都不懂什么是 bookkeeping， 什么是 accounting。我看到竟然有一个 advertisement 写着 bookkeeping accounting， 我就走上去看看是什么来的咯。然后我发现这个 bookkeeping 其实就是读会计啦、簿记员啦。然后我就看，bookkeeping 才30块钱呢，我有80块钱呢，30块钱够累。然后我就在看，还有一个带兵 course 3块钱一嘞，我很开心嘞，我就马上报读了一个bookkeeping course， basic bookkeeping course 30块钱，再报了一个带兵 course 3块尔，真正欢喜，够累存了，很开心。我就开始了读了我的 accounting 啦 bookkeeping， 从 basic accounting 读到 intermediate， 读到 higher， 这就是我开始了我的读书的旅程。我慢慢的读，然后半工半读的，我又读完我的那个 part-time 的 degree。在那个年代，我们只有新加坡国立大学，很少的大学，所以资源不是很多，也没有给到我了，因为我的学习成绩一般般。可是我有一颗学习的心，我想去学东西，所以我读完我的 basic degree， 就是 part-time 的 Australia 的，然后我再去读 master， 都是 part-time 的，半工半读的完成我的学业。然后我在新加坡也工作了一段时间，在大概是31岁的时候，正式被派到29岁到30岁的时候，正式找到一份工作，被外派到中国去。当时我是第一批被派到中国去工作了，响应已故李光耀总理的号召，被派出去，我就去了中国工作。我刚刚去的时候是当财务经理啦 ，finance manager， 后来我就慢慢的就当成了 finance controller， 财务总监，然后经过很多年的拼搏，在那些跨国公司，其实是按摩公司啦，不是新加坡公司啦，后背是按摩公司真多啦，跨国公司啦有请我啦，就是跳槽啦、换工作啦，然后我做到了 其实到最后我做到了上市公司 listed company 的 CFO， 就是首席财务官。中国公司有多大你知道吗？一间公司大概有1万多人，是很大的一个公司，就好像我们的新加坡樟宜机场的规模这样大。到最后我当上了中国一家上市公司的财务总监。不应该是说我当时没有进到 NUS、NTU， 我放弃了我的梦想，我就放弃了，我就待在新加坡算了，随便打份工。我追求我的梦想，我没有在这个教育体系得到好处，我去追求我的梦想，半工半读去找底股，去卖物件，去教补习，然后去完成我的学业，然后在国外去工作。有很多人问我，你在国外那么好，你回来做什么？在讲我嘞。讲我的英文不好嘞，讲我的 standard 不好嘞，跟你讲福建潮州没 standard， 我们要有 Parliament standard， 讲啦 very English 昂模才简单的 Parliament standard。我想问大家 ，Parliament standard， 你们开了电视的那个 Parliament 演讲，有几个人听得懂的？有几个人有耐心在那边坐在那边看的？我今天以我的 standard 讲给你们听，很 layman 的普通人都听得懂的 standard。是不是你们想要在国会听得到的声音？我要为你们发声，把你们的诉求带到国会去。不是因为我们以前这么平庸，没有得到很好的教育的制度，可是我们要去努力。可是现在的机会是不是给了我们？我想跟大家分享一下，当我在中国工作的那么多年的时候，有一些政府的官员把他们的孩子带到我的办公室来找我说，袁总，我要去参加，我要带我的孩子去参加你们新加坡不是招募很多的中国的学生去新加坡读书吗？你来帮我看看我的孩子有什么，帮他恶补一下，看他去面试能够通过你们新加坡的制度，把他弄到新加坡去读书吗？所以很多的资源给了外面的人，我们自己的孩子还要请补习，还要去拼，去很 stress 的去读书。我们有这个机会给我们的孩子吗？我希望我们的政府能够真正的考虑到为新加坡人，把机会留给新加坡的孩子去读书。不要像我这样啦，安尼凄惨啦，去找底股啦 ，OK？ But anyway， 老天是公平的，他给了我一条可以看到的阳光，这扇门关了，还有另外一扇门为我打开，永远不要放弃。我5年前从中国回来，很多人问我，你为什么要回来？当时是这样子的，新加坡要选举了，我在睡觉睡到很晚，一个晚上啦，是单亲伯跟我打电话啦，说 Gigi can you please come back？ 我睡觉了，半夜 come back and help us。 当时我听到这个消息之后，我就马上辞职，24小时我 resign from my company， 我回来了。因为我是新加坡的女儿 ，I'm a daughter of Singapore， 我是回来帮你们的，不是说你们在大选的时候才看到我，没有的，我一直在新加坡，这5年我都在新加坡。后来大选之后，我发现我爸爸他得了失智症、老年痴呆症。我虽然也是新加坡的女儿，我也是我爸爸的女儿。所以我现在是一个全职看护我爸爸的看护者，我能理解看护者的痛苦跟需求，所以我想通过我的努力帮助大家。我恳求你们给我们的团队，不一定要给我们的团队任何一个人送进国会，为你们发声，为你们争取利益，为我们新加坡人重造辉煌而努力，把我们的团队送进国会。感谢大家，谢谢你们。
All right, that was Dr. Jijin Wong. She gave a really impassioned speech about her experiences that led her to service, that led her to the SDP.
Oh, well, the next speaker coming on stage is Suraya Akbar. And Suraya, as Mr. Dr. Paul Tambaya has already mentioned, is the worst-kept secret of the SDP's new slate of fresh faces. Suraya herself is a very long-time serving member of the SDP with already more than 20 years of committed service. She is currently serving on the CEC and holds the role of treasurer and fundraising head. She herself is a strong advocate for women's rights, for social equity, and for community welfare. I believe these are also issues that tug at your hearts. Suraya herself is at the forefront of our efforts to support the vulnerable groups, advocating on behalf of single mothers for equal access to government benefits such as maternity leave, childcare leave, and as well as the CDA. Her stance is guided by empathy and the belief that no child should be left behind. But before we invite her up here, we do our part as MCs to implore you to do your part as citizens of Singapore and also supporters of the party SDP by turning your head around to look over there at the tentages in red. Those are tentages where we have merchandise, and we really need you to help purchase any merchandise, whether it be a book, whether it be a bear, or whether it be a tak boleh tahan t-shirt, because these will go a long way to support the party in a very, very grueling long campaign, because we have another 8 more rallies for you guys over the next 2 weeks. As well, I just want to quickly address some of you over there in the stands already. I believe some of you are choosing to sit slightly further away, perhaps because sitting is easier, but we never choose the easy path here today as SDP as well. So I implore everyone to possibly come down, if you can, to get closer together, because standing here in a rally is not a crime. It's not a crime. It is your right as a citizen in a proper functioning democracy to come here and listen to your problems being enunciated, to hear alternative solutions from our candidates over here. Because for the longest time, they have not been resolved. Am I right to say that?
Yes!
It is not a crime to voice out your displeasure, isn't it?
Yes!
When we live in increasing income inequality. So without further ado, I would like to ask everybody to give another rousing round of applause for Suraya Akbar, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Suraya Akbar and I've been a member of the Singapore Democratic Party for nearly 20 years. I've also had the honor of serving as the party's treasurer for almost 2 terms or 4 years. As an entrepreneur, I own a music publishing company and I am a mother to 3 wonderful children, aged 24, 22, and 19. My eldest son is a composer, singer, songwriter, and is happily married. My other son is currently serving his national service in the Singapore Police Force. And my youngest daughter is a scholar pursuing her diploma at a polytechnic. In my free time, I enjoy singing, dancing, and swimming. I also find joy in keeping fish as a hobby, and I have several pets at home, including 2 birds and a cat. My involvement in politics stems from my deep concern about the high cost of living and the increases in GST. I remember being inspired when I first joined the SDP because the party was vocal about the GST price hike back in 2008. Beyond the high cost of living, I am also deeply concerned about the mental health and well-being of our society. To address these critical issues, I advocate for the following. Scrap GST for essential items. Basic food items and other necessities such as medical treatment and school supplies should be exempt from GST to protect poorer households from regressive taxation. To offset the reduction in revenue, the GST rate for luxury items should be increased to 10% or more. Legislation on minimum wage. Implementing a minimum wage ensures that low-income workers are not exploited and that economic growth occurs fairly and sustainably. A wage structure that does not strike an equitable balance between the wages of the lowest paid workers and the cost of living is detrimental to long-term economic growth. A minimum wage will also help reduce income inequality and the demand for foreign workers. Lower HDB prices. HDB flats have become unaffordable for many Singaporeans. The use of our CPF savings meant for retirement to fund HDB flats leaves retirees with insufficient savings for their later years. To ensure adequate retirement savings, the SDP proposes non-open market NOM flats. These flats would be sold at cost minus land cost and would not be allowed to be sold on the open market. Excluding the cost of land would effectively halve flat prices, allowing homeowners to save their CPF for retirement. For a detailed explanation of this idea, please refer to our policy paper, Housing a Nation, Sound Policies for a Secure Future. Return CPF savings in full. Withholding retirees' savings through retirement sum scheme makes this immensely difficult for elderly to manage financially. This scheme should be abolished. An opt-in clause could be introduced to allow members to voluntarily retain their CPF funds and receive them in installments. I want to emphasize the importance of keeping the cost of living affordable in Singapore. The financial pressures from the high cost of living can manifest in health problems among Singaporeans. Now, 60% of Singaporean workers report feeling mentally exhausted due to stress and depression. Psychiatrists reveal that up to 90% of the patients suffer from mental health issues caused by work-related stress. Singaporeans work the most hours in the world. Now, by reducing and eliminating GST on essential items would alleviate the pressures faced by lower and middle-income households. The GST was introduced in Singapore on 1st April 1994 at a rate of 3%. It was increased to 4% in January 2003, then to 5% a year later. In July 2007, the GST was further raised to 7%. The government has announced that it would increase the GST to 9% between 2021 and 2025, which has now taken effect. I hope the people of Singapore recognize that the SDP consistently advocated for them over the years. By electing us into Parliament, we can amplify your concerns and contribute to making Singapore a better place to live in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Soraya, and thank you once again. All of you in the crowd, can we once again give yourselves a round of applause, please, and cheers? I really believe some of you have purchased some items, clappers, whistles, whatsoever. We would like you to use those whenever you voice out certain measures of displeasure, certain measures of agreement with the candidates who are coming up to speak.
Are you ready for more? Yes.
Now, the next candidate coming up is Dr. James Gomez. Dr. James himself is a political scientist, a regional director of the Asia Center, which is the preeminent regional civil society research institute in consultative statutes with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. He has been also a member of the SDP for 15 years since 2010 and has previously contested in SDP for SDP in Sembawang GRC as well as Holland Bukit Timah. Without further ado, invite Dr. James Gomez, please.
Put your hands together for Dr. James Gomez.
Good evening. Fellow Singaporeans, we are at a crossroads. Our economy, our society, and the very way we live our daily lives are being tested. But within these challenges lies an opportunity, a moment for us to decide the kind of country we want to live in and what kind of leaders we want to represent us. Let us start with what we all know. Our economy is under duress. Singapore, like many countries, is being buffeted by global headwinds, tariffs from the US, and slowing global demand. And not just are they headlines, they have real consequences. Growth forecasts down to just 0 to 2% already tells us that these are not ordinary times. Yes, businesses are feeling the pinch, but it is the workers and the younger generations that are feeling and will continue to feel the pressure. But even more pressing than these external shocks are the struggles Singaporeans face right here. Rising housing prices, spiraling living costs, and job insecurity are eating away at the middle class. And for those who have less to begin with, life has even become tougher. We have often been told that Singapore is a shining success story. But the truth is only a limited few are doing well. Some Singaporeans are struggling to put food on the table. Food insecurity in Singapore is a real problem. And no, this isn't something we can just dismiss or downplay. In response, the government has rolled out food and grocery vouchers. We know Voucher Wong is currently speaking on the other side of town. But let's not kid ourselves. Vouchers are not a solution. They are a short-term band-aid while we brace for a very worse downfall. These measures do little to address the underlying causes of poverty, inequality, or the rising cost of living. In fact, there's a very real risk that these policies are actually making things worse by driving demand in a way that fuels prices even further, without fundamentally improving anyone's long-term prospects. So we have to ask ourselves this: what kind of future are we building? Do we want a country where young families are forced to choose between starting a family or affording a home, where our seniors live in fear of being left behind and not cared for? Or do we want something better, something fairer, more compassionate, and more forward-looking? That brings us to the next question. What kind of leaders do we need in Parliament? The truth is, many Singaporeans are growing increasingly frustrated with the current political status quo. The ruling party, the People's Action Party, has governed for decades, and in those decades, policies are made with too little consultation, too little transparency, and too little accountability. Worse, when things don't go well, we don't see enough willingness to acknowledge mistakes, listen to alternative views, or to adapt. Instead, what we get are MPs who go along with whatever the party line is. Even when it's clear the people are suffering in this election, if this trend is not checked, we are going to get a rubber stamp parliament. But this is not the democracy we deserve. Singaporeans are now saying very clearly and confidently that they want a more balanced parliament, not for the sake of opposition, but for the sake of representation. What people want is not just voices in Parliament, they want their voices. They want MPs who are not afraid to challenge bad policies, MPs who will not be silenced, MPs who will ask the tough question and fight for better answers. That's why we need the Singapore Democratic Party in Parliament. The SDP has always been guided by one simple belief: the people must come first. We don't have millions in resources. We don't control the narrative in the mainstream media. But what we do have is a deep commitment to justice, to fairness, and to the idea that every Singaporean, regardless of background, deserves to be heard and respected. We have clear policies rooted in real research and people's real needs, from cutting healthcare costs to tackling housing affordability to making jobs more secure. We believe that Singapore's wealth must serve all its people, not just the privileged few. We will speak up in Parliament when the cost of living becomes unbearable. We will speak up when policies hurt more than they can help. We will speak up when the government refuses to acknowledge that everyday struggles that Singaporeans all face. And let me say this clearly: we will not get into Parliament only to be silent. We will not sit on our hands. We will not side with the PAP just to stay comfortable. We are not afraid to speak truth to power. If that is the kind of MP you want, someone who will stand firm, ask the hard questions, and fight for your interests, then your choice is clear. Vote for SDP. Vote for SDP MPs. Not because we will promise you miracles, not because we have all the answers, but because we believe in you. We believe Singaporeans deserve a better deal, a louder voice, and a parliament that truly reflects the diversity and dynamism of our society. This is not about winning seats. It's about restoring the balance. It's about dignity, accountability, and hope. It's about making sure that voices of teachers, nurses, small business owners, delivery drivers, retirees, your voices are not just heard, but acted upon. Singapore cannot move forward if we, under the PAP, are being left behind. Let's build a parliament that doesn't just pass laws, but protects lives. A parliament that just doesn't talk about values, but lives them out. So when you cast your vote, don't just vote out of habit. Vote for change. Vote for a better tomorrow. Vote for the party that has the courage to care, the courage to challenge, and the courage to lead. Vote for SDP. Vote SDP MPs. Thank you.
Dr. Gomez makes a really strong case for electing the SDP MP into Parliament. Now, our next speaker is no stranger outside the world of politics. He wants you to wake up to the realities of what is going on in Singapore. He wants you to see the truth of what lies behind the veil of what looks like a perfect society, but is actually not.
And I also understand that some of you in the stands over there can't hear really clearly because the field is where the speakers are directed towards. So I once again highly implore everybody in the stands, if you can, please make your way down to the field to join everybody here today. Without further ado, we can a round of applause please to invite our youngest candidate this slate, Arifin. Good evening, Chua Chu Kang! Tasha Wan Shang Hao! Okay, the crowd here is good, but what about those people sitting in the stands? Can you all hear me? Okay. Residents of UT, Limbang, Woodgrove, and Marsiling, and for the residents listening to us at home or wherever you may be, thank you all for coming today. The first thing I want to say is this. It is important in any election for us to hear directly from the candidates. Don't always listen to the media or get distracted by the noise. Meet the candidates directly, shake their hands, and hear directly from them. You know, you don't even need to agree with everything that we say. But take the time to hear both sides, read both sides, and meet both sides, and make an informed decision. Today, I stand before you not as a prospective MP, but as one of you. I want all of you to ask yourself this question tonight and answer honestly. You don't have to answer out loud, but answer honestly. On a day-to-day basis, my fellow Singaporeans, on a day-to-day basis, are you thriving or are you merely surviving and getting by? Okay, I heard some dying. You know, tak boleh tahan. Believe me when I say that I understand what each and every one of us are going through today. You know, my fellow Singaporeans, we have more in common with each other than our $1 million ministers. You know, many have asked me this question the past few days. Why is this kid, why is this Sigina taking on the PM in his home turf? I know that question might be on your mind as well. You know, why join the suicide squad, as some of them has called us? I will answer these questions and more tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. Every sitting Prime Minister has always comfortably scored above 70%, 80%, sometimes even 90%, save for one instance in 2006. We know that there is a mountain ahead of us, but my friends, mountains are meant to be climbed. As my hockey teacher used to tell me, sikit-sikit jadi bukit. You can count on us to put up a good, clean fight, focus on the issues and the voices of Singaporeans. You know, for far too long, the voices of Singaporeans have gone unheard. Let me ask you this question, and this time answer out loud, including those at the stands. Are you personally happy with the way that Singapore has been going for the past 5 years? No! Do you think it was a good idea to raise GST not once, but twice during a cost of living crisis? No! Do you want a Singapore where we citizens are treated as mere economic digits? No! Do you want a parliament where our constitution can be amended easily? No! And last, because this is something that's very close to our hearts, because something that just happened, do you think it is okay to chop and change electoral boundaries and treat residents like political footballs? No! Residents of Marsiling-Yew, in your hand lies a golden opportunity to send a signal that will be heard from Jurong to Choa Chu Kang to Changi. An unmistakable signal that will wake up our $1 million ministers. Yes. Listen, my brothers and sisters, what matters in this election is not just who wins, but the margin of victory. Even the babies are joining us in shouting. I mean, a lot of the things we talk about is our future. Okay? Remember this. A PAP that wins by 80% is very different from a PAP that wins by 60%. In theory, there's no real change. They can still pass laws, they can still form the government. But in practice, the PAP will work twice as hard for our Singaporeans. Brothers and sisters, if you remember just one line from this rally, just one line to take home, it is this. The smaller the margins of victory, the better the policies and welfare for the people. Let that sink in for a bit, right? How many of you remember the election results of GE 2011 when Aljunied fall for the first time? Yes. Remember the scenes at 2-3 a.m.? How many of you remember when Sengkang, when the Workers' Party won Sengkang for the first time in GE 2020? Yes. Remember, after GE 2011 and GE 2020, look at the policy shifts. There were good policies that helped the people. And this serves as evidence as the smaller the margin of victory, the better the welfare and the policy for the people. This is why the margin of victory is so crucial. If the PAP wins big, it might think that everything is okay. Do you want that? Is that the signal you want to send? Now, Mr. Lawrence Wong launched the Forward SG report a few years ago. In the Forward SG report, 2 points stood out to me. The first is, according to an article for the Straits Times, because I need to quote these days, Singaporeans acknowledge that we are living in a time of change and we must relook our current way of doing things. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't agree more. The other thing that emerged from the Forward SG report is many Singaporeans believe in fairness. Am I right? Do you think the PAP truly believes in fairness? Okay, how about this? How many of you believe that the People's Association is independent? I heard a joke the other day. You guys want to hear a joke?
Yes.
I heard a joke the other day. It says that you can't spell partisan without P and A. But this is not a joke that I'm going to move on to. Our Secretary General, Dr. Chee Soon Juan, you guys will hear from him very soon. Yeah. Dr. Chee Soon Juan walked the ground for 9 years in Bukit Batok SMC. Gone, exactly. Last election, he narrowly lost Bukit Batok by less than 3,000 votes. Less than 3,000 votes. And then we move on to the EBRC, another independent institution. EBRC released his report last month and suddenly Bukit Batok was gone. Dr. Chee had to start from scratch all over again in Marsiling, in Sembawang West. But we know that it's uphill, but Dr. Chee, just like the rest of SDP, never say die. You see, the consequences of an unfair playing field is very, very real. Look at what happened in Marine Parade GRC yesterday. What happened can be blamed on gerrymandering. If Marine Parade GRC was not gerrymandered, we have no doubt that WP will send its strongest team there. So, we cannot just sweep things under the rug and pretend that everything is okay. That is not how we work in Singapore. And finally, this was a bit older, but ladies and gentlemen, do you all remember when the Constitution was amended in 2016 before the presidential elections? And honestly, right, Madam Halimah Yacob, who was an MP of Marsiling-Yew, I have no doubt that if it was an open election, she would have won fair and square. We all know Madam Halimah Yacob speaks up for the people, but the constitutional amendment left a sour taste in the mouths of many. Fairness and justice is important in Singapore, in society. A vote for PAP, a large victory for the PAP, will send the signal that such things are okay. It's fine to do such things. We need to have real, honest conversations, my friends, instead of sweeping things under the rug. Let's be real. Anyway, I want to read you a few lines from the PAP manifesto. How many of you have read the PAP manifesto? No, I mean you should read, read both sides. Okay, hear me out. Provision of a workers' charter with legislation for minimum wage, equal pay, a 40-hour work week with 2 weeks paid annual holidays, child endowment, maternity allowance, employment benefits, workmen's compensation for all classes of workers, minimum paid sick leave of 48 days a year. Hey, did you guys give me the right manifesto? Oh, sorry. I got the wrong manifesto. This is PAP's manifesto from 1955. I don't know how many of us were around the time. The PAP was once a party of the people, the first generation of PAP leaders, Mr. Lim Chin Siong, Mr. Goh Keng Swee, Mr. S. Rajaratnam, Dr. Po Su Kai. These were a people of a different generation and class. These were conviction politicians, not TikTok politicians. Honestly, Singaporeans don't really care about humble backgrounds and people singing songs in other languages. What we want is a politician who simply does his job. Am I right? Yes. Let me ask you a question. How many of you know what an MP's salary is? 16,000? Yeah, it's thereabouts. 15,000, 16,000 a month. Okay? And remember, an MP's job is way more than just keeping the estate clean and erecting sheltered walkways. An MP's job is to speak up in Parliament for you and for me. And it's, we always see a lot of PAP MPs saying that, oh, if elected, I will speak up, I will speak up. Have you all seen the videos? Yeah? Sleeping. Let me ask you this. How many PAP MPs voted against the GST hike? Kosong. Zero. But can you imagine what Parliament would be like if Dr. Chee Soon Juan and Dr. Paul Tambaya are in Parliament? Can you imagine the level of debates? Of course, in a few moments, like I said, you'll be able to hear from them directly. But Dr. Chee Soon Juan is one of the most misunderstood men in Singapore. He has been vilified, wrongfully demonized by the press, by the establishment. I am 27 years old, 28 this year. I turned 28 this year. Dr. Chee wrote a book in 1994 called Dare to Change. Read it for yourself. If you can, head over to our merchandise booth, get some books. Later, you can meet Dr. Chee, get it signed as well. But, between now and polling day, 9 days, just nice to finish a book. Yeah? So, read the books and you will see this. 3 decades ago, Dr. Chee put forth many policies which the government of the day has adopted in baby steps. All I can say is this. People like Dr. Chee and Dr. Paul could have easily had high-flying careers elsewhere. In any other country, Dr. Paul Tambaya will be the health minister. Yes. My fellow Singaporeans, please give them this one chance. Come May 3rd, just give them this one chance to serve you. Just 5 years. Take the leap of faith and see how much your estate and Singapore will change. See for yourself. See for yourself what a full-time MP can do. $15,000 a month and you're still not full-time. And that is just the MP's pay. Huh? Let's not even talk about the mayor's pay. How many mayors does Singapore have? Anybody knows? Singapore very big. Okay? Always remember this. When you go to the ballot box on May 3rd, take some time to make an informed decision. In 1959, Singapore, and 55 to 59, Singaporeans decided to vote for the opposition party at that time. And what's the name of the opposition party then? PAP, right? And the manifesto I read just now, It is time for us to thrive, not just survive. And my fellow Singaporeans, please, this I ask of you. If you have friends in Bukit Panjang SMC or Sembawang West SMC, please ask them, remind them of the power that they hold in their hands. Remind them that they should take this opportunity to give Dr. Paul and Dr. Chi a chance. Just give them one chance and see what they can do. My friends, May 3rd, let us make history together. For all of you watching at home and for all of us here, remember, don't just stop at this. Talk to a friend, talk to your family. This is when Dr. Chi and Dr. Paul get into parliament. Trust me on this. It will not be our victory. It will be the people's victory. Achamile, yeah. All right, and if I may finish with a few words in Tamil. நாங்கள் சிங்கப்பூர் ஜனநாயக கட்சியிலிருந்து வந்திருக்கோம். உங்கள் வாக்கு ரகசியமானது. உங்கள் வாக்கு ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது. நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும் இது ரொம்ப கடுமையான போற்றி. ஆனால் do you guys want to learn a bit of Tamil? Do you? I can't hear you. Do you guys want to learn a bit of Tamil? Come on. Vanakkam, yes. I'm going to teach you a new word besides Vanakkam. Don't worry. Sabde also, another word besides Vanakkam, besides Sabde. Okay, it's a very simple word. Repeat after me. Achamile. One more time. Achamile. It means have no fear. And there's a very famous poem in Tamil by the poet Bharatiyar that I would like to end on. We say Achamile, Achamile, Acham Yembadile. The last part, if you cannot catch, don't worry. Enga porenga PAP? Good question. Okay, so together on the count of 3. Achamile, Achamile, Acham Yembadile. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Achamile!
Achamile! Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Arifin has mentioned, today at the end of this evening, we are also expecting Dr. Chi as well as Dr. Paul to come in, slated for the end of today's evening speeches. So please stay to the end, because Dr. Chi himself will speak until the very last second before he gets compulsorily cut off. Min, do you recall yesterday on nomination day we encountered busloads, battalions of white, visually outnumbering every single opposition party's volunteers, publicly published on mainstream media as a form of drumming up numerical inequality of support. But today, we see all of you here in front of us, with more streaming in from the gates as we speak. So please give a round of applause for yourselves for being here today, please.
Every one of you counts. Thank you so much for being here.
That is just reassurance that mainstream media impressions are just that. Mere impressions, isn't it? Because you here are the reality, surviving citizens in a very unequal Singapore. And this is not what we want, isn't it? So now I would like to invite our next candidate, Mr. Alec Tok, to come on stage. But before we do that, allow me to very quickly introduce him. Alec worked for the SAF Music and Drama Company and then Safra Radio before producing and directing Singapore's very first Chinese musical, December Rain. Some of you may have been there to watch as well. He is a father with very young children. He will bring to his role as a Member of Parliament a keen awareness of the pressures and challenges of bringing up a family in a fast-changing job landscape with unfair competition from foreign labor. So please give a round of applause if you empathize with this as well. Mr. Alec Tok, please.
大家好，小巴贝，voucher拿了没有？啊？voucher拿了没有？ 啊，一月的那个300拿了没有？拿了啊。用完了没有？用完了啦。等咯，等5月份的咯。5月份还有多少？300啊？300还是500？500能用多久？能用多久？8月份、9月份，然后呢？没有了，9月份就没有了，那怎么办？然后怎么办？你知道我在说什么啦？哦，你知道我在说什么啦 ？voucher 这种政策是不能持续的 ，OK？ 不能持续的。现在啊，没有 East Coast Plan 了，对吗？没有了啊，退休了啊，没有 East Coast Plan 了。有 Singapore Plan 吗？有没有？我问你，有没有 Singapore Plan？ 没有，没有 Singapore Plan 呢？哦，有 Task Force 啊，甘金庸的 Task Force， 对吗？严金勇副总理负责的 Task Force 有，可是有没有 Plan？没有 plan， 没有 plan，then 那么急要有竞选干嘛？要先有 plan 才有竞选吗？ then 我们可以通过竞选去，大家你我他们，大家可以一起 partner 吗？partner 吗？我们可以通过竞选讨论这个 plan， 辩论这个 plan， 改善这个 plan， 对吗？那为什么呢？为什么那么急？为什么那么急？要硬的举办这一次的选举那么快哦？要换新人呐，要换新人呐！我们的老部长等不及享受他们的荣华富贵了啊！啊，不要大汉，不要卖走了啊！不要做了啊！要回去享受他们赚到的钱了啊！所以现在黄循财总理头疼啊！头疼，必须找新人、新秀来代替这些老部长。可是我的问题是什么？我的问题是，你不是说现在世界在大转变吗？我们的困难重重啊，不是说哇很危险呢。那么如果真的那么危险的话，为什么我们让我们最有经验的老部长退休的那么快？为什么？为什么退休的那么快？如果我们的问题那么严峻，为什么要让他们退休的那么快？不是说黑心贵很能干，对吗？不是说他很能干，不是说他汪瑞杰。哦，他也是副总理对吗 ？OK， 不是说他很能干，为什么不要留着他？现在突然间换新人，要有一批新人把这些问题交给他们呢？你觉得这荒谬不荒谬？这是我们黄循财总理做出的一个大决定，我本身看不懂，在这么紧急的这一刻， 为什么他做出这个决定？换人可以下一班换的吗？可以下一届的换吗？解决问题先吗？有一个 plan first 吗？为什么要谈到 renewable 新秀32个新秀？他们承担得了吗？我看不懂。黄循财总理的这个举动，我看不懂。好，我们继续。今天呢，我不要谈论太多问题，我不要谈物价的问题，还是生活费的涨高，我不要讲。我要谈一个简单的事情，就是游戏规则。我们现在这个选举到底是在做什么？我们究竟在做什么？我们在选一个国会议员 ，OK， 简单的国会议员。国会议员必须做到2件大事：一个 run down council。OK， 把down council做好。第二，在国会里要观察、监督和辨别国会里的法案和政府的政策和国家的开销。大致上就是这3大责任了啊！一个国会议员应该做到的。这3大责任，就等于说，你现在要选的这个国会议员，你必须看清楚一点，你必须针对2大点，这个党派有没有那个雄厚的力量去把市政理事会做好，你必须观察这个党派有没有那种雄厚的历史。我们新加坡民主党，你不用怕，我们有几十年的雄厚历史，我和一群在他们工作里都是响当当的专业人士，所以Town Council 不用怕 ，SDP 新加坡民主党肯定能够做到。好，对，肯定，无所否认，无可否认。第2个大责任，一个国会议员的责任就是辩论。如果你看现在的国会里，反对党的国会议员太少，没几个，所以一旦你进去，你必须有那个胆量和那个质量，去和人民行动党最有学问、最有经验的老部长们直接辩论，所以你们必须针对这第2点，哪一个党派有那些真的有质量、真的有胆量的候选人，必须看清楚。我们新加坡民主党不缺这种人，包括我自己在内。年龄给了我一点质量，可是你们的支持会给我胆量。OK， 好，我们继续讲规则。下一个规则是，这一次的竞选，请大家，请每一个党派不要把注意力和焦点放在个人的长或缺，好或坏。我们应该集中精力 深度的分析和讨论目前我们在新加坡的每一个大问题。我们的大问题，依我的分析有3个 ，OK？ 第一，生活费太高了，很显然的，这是太高。这是大家都很明显看得出的。如果你看一看啊，小贩啊，现在也卖走了，不做了。餐饮行业、餐厅纷纷的倒闭关门，也不做了。现在夜生活贵到年轻人都不敢出去，留在家里玩电子游戏，喝不起了啊，玩不起了。我们必须针对这个问题。这个只是餐饮行业。第二个大问题就是就业机会。新加坡的就业机会，尤其是给年轻人制造的就业机会，已经大大减少。Grab 有了，送外卖有了 ，delivery 有了，可是大部分，你知不知道？大部分的这些人是受过poly大专教育的年轻人，为什么他们必须做 Grab？ 我跟你说，香港有11000个 Grab 送卖员，11000个。新加坡你知道有几个吗？那个数目88000个，88000个受过大专教育的，受过poly教育的，现在骑着脚车这样，每天呢雨淋啊、日晒啊这样啊。香港比我们大一点，11000，我们那么小，有88000个啊。这个是一个非常大的问题。我们的年轻人怎么样？他们没有其他的工作，外来的，在别的国家成长的年轻人已经夺取了很多他们应有的工作，他们已经侵入了我们新加坡的市场。好，这个问题太大了，我们改天再谈。我们继续讲这个竞选的规则。你知道另外一个大问题是什么吗？我们新加坡现在面对的第3个大问题是，这里的健康啊，身心的健康，心理的健康啊。你翻翻报纸，你听听 radio， 你知道的，在我们祖屋的附近，在巴士车上，你可以看到的，不只是年老的、中年的、年轻的，都是已经开始有关于精神的一些小问题，打人、打老婆、用车撞人，有没有？谋杀邻居，每一天报纸你翻一看，太普遍了，太普及了。这个是一个非常大的社会问题，就等于说我们的压力太大了，中年人的压力大，老人的压力大，年轻人的压力大，所以精神开始要崩溃了。最后我要说的是什么？我要 我要留4个字给你们呐，4个字，不是去买，而是记住，给你4个字。我先说说我的父亲，今天我的父母亲和我的妹妹都在场，使我想起70年代的时候，我记得我爸爸回到家里啊，他说，哎，你看到我这张纸吗？这个文凭，我是从 NPB National Productivity Board 得来的。我相信这张纸能够提升我们家人的生活水平，因为我们的政府，他说，那个政府李光耀和伙伴们的政府会保证我有一份工作，这是我爸爸告诉我们的。今晚我要留给你4个字：全民有工作，全民工作，全民就业，全民就业。我想问黄总理，你能不能够像你的先驱那样，好几年前担保我们每一个想工作的新加坡人能够得到一个有稳定薪水的好工作？你能不能够担保我们？你和你的新秀、你的新人，能不能够担保我们能够有一份好的工作？今晚当你回家的时候，请你用你的 WhatsApp、你的 social media、你的任何媒体，问问你的朋友，叫他们，如果他们碰到黄循财总理的话，麻烦他们帮我们问一问黄总理，你听得到吗？我们需要的是全民就业 voucher 不够的，全民就业。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Mr. Alexto. And now, in the interest of time, because we don't want Mr. Chee Soon Juan to have his speech unnecessarily cut short, so we're not going to go on stage. We give a round of applause for our next speaker, Mr. Brian Lim.
For those who don't understand Chinese, please bear with me for about 6 minutes or so. All right? 开台上面的朋友听得到吗？听得到吗？后面朋友听得到吗？亲爱的朋友们，大家晚上好。能够站在这个讲台上，我是充斥着激动的情绪。我为什么这么说呢？因为我和民主党的同仁都知道，新加坡人民的面前有一个机会，一个能改变未来、塑造希望的机会，对不对？今天我们不是为了5年一次的选举而奋斗，我们是为一个梦想、一个信念，在呐喊着新加坡是属于新加坡人民的，对不对？对。可是朋友们，在这个充满希望的社区里，我们依然看见太多人在生活里的夹缝中求生存。在我们走访基层时，我们听见太多家庭为一笔医疗费用而彻夜难眠，为孩子的教育机会而焦虑难安。我们看见太多长者在黄昏岁月时孤独无援。请问大家，这是我们所要看到的新加坡吗？是不是？一个强大的国家，不仅仅是靠全球第一机场或第一港口的名称糊弄过去的。一个强大的国家，不是靠执政党垄断国会所塑造而成的。 一个强大的国家，也不是靠先施舍人民后再捅一刀的伎俩所能支撑的。各位，真正强大的国家是以人民为先，以关怀为心，以透明为责，以民主为根，以正义为本，对不对？所以，民主党的候选人不是为了权力，不是为了头衔，而是为了每一位在这里辛勤耕耘、努力生活的人民，勇敢站出来，为的是打造一个更富有同情心的新加坡。大家说好不好？新加坡民主党承诺，我们会倾听你们的声音，不是等到5年一次，而是天天如此。新加坡民主党也承诺，我们不说空话，我们要做实事。在国会里，我们将推动减轻生活成本的压力，我们要确保长者老有所养，年轻人有希望，工友有保障，家庭有尊严，好不好？我们不要一个只为少数人服务的政府，我们要一个关心每位人民的政府，对不对？民主党要建立一个能让人昂首阔步，而不是低头忍耐的社会。大家要切记，一张选票就是一把声音，成千上万的声音汇聚起来，就是一股改变国家的洪流。行动党就是害怕这5年一次的洪流，每次到选举的时候才开始到处派礼物，让你尝尝甜头。可是大家要注意哦，大选之前他先让你尝甜头，大选过后你就只剩骨头了。各位你要记得，您的一票能唤醒沉睡的政策，您的一票能点燃沉默的希望，您的一票不是对我们团队的信任，而是对你为自己、为家人、为孩子、为未来做出的尊严承诺，对不对？那5月3号，请把票投给新加坡民主党，好不好？让我们大家一起携手并肩，建立一个充满公平、机会、尊严与温情的家园。新加坡民主党将带着真诚、带着热血、带着为人民服务的使命，带您走出平庸，迈向共荣，好不好？让我们大家一起创造幸福。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Brian. And once again, in the interest of time, we would like to invite the next speaker on stage. Can we give a round of applause for Jufri from Sembawang GRC, please?
Takeho. Salam sejahtera. Good evening. Managam. My name is Jufri Salim, and I am proud and happy to be representing Marsiling-Yew GRC together with my teammates, Alec Tok, Jijin Wong, and Arifin Shah. I have been married to Suraya Akbar, one of the candidates of Sembawang GRC, and also the party treasurer for 25 years. Together, thank you. Together we have 3 grown-up children, 24, 22, and 19, and a very loving daughter-in-law. I vividly remember those days when I often brought my children to the party's old office along Upper Thompson Road to play with Dr. Chi's children while we held our meetings and discussions in the office. That was almost 19 years ago. In 2009, I was elected vice president of the party's youth wing, the Young Democrats, and became the head of the wing from 2013 to 2023. I am also on SDP's Central Executive Committee, where I hold the position of the organizing secretary. Over the past weeks, we have walked through your neighborhoods, spoken at your doorsteps, listened to what matters most to you. We've heard your worries about the rising cost of living, about job security, about housing prices that feel out of reach, about whether there's still a place for ordinary Singaporeans in our own country. And we are not just listening. We are here because we understand and we feel it too. This is why the Singapore Democratic Party is stepping forward, not just with slogans, not just with promises, but with a bold and people-centric plan for a better Singapore. Let's talk about GST. It is now 9%. It affects everyone, young families, the elderly, the low income, the unemployed. It's a burden that keeps growing. SDP will push to reduce GST from 9% to 7% or even better 5%. And even more importantly, we want to abolish GST on essential items such as your food, medicine, baby products, because basic needs should not be taxed. Prioritizing jobs for Singaporeans. We've heard your frustrations. You're qualified, you're experienced, but you don't get jobs. Why? Why? Cheaper foreign PMETs. This is not fair. The SDP will tighten policies on foreign PMET hiring to make sure Singaporeans get a fair shot at meaningful work. We are not against foreigners, we are not. But we must put Singaporeans first. Supporting families to grow, population management is one of the most important parts of national policy. And yet, despite baby bonuses, grants and schemes, our total fertility rate remains one of the lowest in the world. Why? Because people aren't just looking for cash handouts. They are looking for security, for affordability, and a work-life balance. Truly affordable housing with shorter waiting times for younger couples. Accessible high-quality healthcare that doesn't drain your wallet. A fairer education system that helps every child succeed, not just those who can afford tuition. We want to make it possible and meaningful to start a family here in Singapore. Now let us talk about retirement. Too many of our senior citizens are still working because they have no choice. They have no choice. Too many depend entirely on their CPF savings, which often fall short of the minimum sum, now rebranded as the retirement scheme. But please remember, changing the name doesn't change the pain. The system is still broken. The SDP believes your CPF is your money. Full stop. You worked for it. You saved it. And when you retire, you deserve to have it returned to you in full. This is why we will fight to abolish the retirement scheme and to return CPF savings to our retirees. Because dignity in retirement should not be a privilege. It should be a right. What we are offering is not just a political campaign. It is a movement. A movement for fairness, a movement for compassion, a movement for a government that serves the people, not controls them. We are not here to divide. We are here to unite. My fellow Singaporeans, don't just hope for change. Be the change. Make it happen. Vote for the SDP. Vote for a Singapore that puts its people first. Let's build this future together.
SDP!
Salam sejahtera buat penduduk Marsiling-Yew, GRC dan warga Singapura. Sepanjang minggu-minggu ini, kami telah melawat dari rumah ke rumah, kawasan ke kawasan. Kami mendengar suara anda, mendengar cerita anda dan merasai keperihan kehidupan anda. Kami tahu, kehidupan semakin mencabar. Kos sara hidup naik, harga rumah makin tinggi, pekerjaan makin sukar didapati dan banyak yang rasa tertinggal di belakang. Kami faham. Kerana kami juga rakyat biasa yang hidup dalam realiti yang sama. Kami di SDP tidak datang dengan janji kosong. Kami datang dengan idea. Kami datang dengan harapan. Yang paling penting sekali, kami datang dengan hati. Apa yang kami mahu bukan sekadar perubahan untuk hari ini. Kami mahukan masa depan yang lebih adil. Kami mengutamakan rakyat Singapura. Inilah komitmen kami kepada anda. Pertama, SDP akan mendesak pengurangan GST daripada 9% kepada 7 atau 5% kerana cukai ini membebankan rakyat biasa. Kedua, SDP akan memansuhkan GST untuk barangan keperluan harian, makanan asas, ubat-ubatan, keperluan bayi supaya anda tidak perlu memilih antara makan atau membayar bil. Ketiga, SDP akan hadkan kemasukan pekerja asing dalam sektor PMET agar rakyat Singapura mempunyai peluang pekerjaan yang adil dan saksama. Apa gunanya kemajuan ekonomi jika rakyat sendiri tidak dapat merasakannya? Apa guna bangunan tinggi dan pencapaian global kalau rakyat masih terus bergelutan dalam keperihan? SDP percaya kepada Singapura yang lebih mengambil peduli. Singapura yang lebih adil. Singapura yang mengutamakan rakyatnya kerana kita jaga kita. Ini bukan kempen semata-mata. Ini adalah satu gerakan. Gerakan untuk perubahan. Gerakan untuk masa depan. Kita jangan hanya berharap untuk perubahan. Mari kita buat perubahan itu. Izinkan saya berpantun sedikit ya. Duduk bawah blok main gitar. Gitar dimain oleh Encik Larry. Kita tak takut, kita tak gentar. Kalau dah standby, kita dah ready. Undilah harapan. Undilah keberanian untuk berubah. Terutama sekali, undilah SDP. Terima kasih. Thank you everyone and good night.
Thank you, and once again, thank you for your presence here. Without further introduction, because you all know him already, Dr. Paul Tambayao.
Dear residents of Marsiling-Yew and fellow Singaporeans, I am deeply honored to be back on stage again, speaking to a crowd of so many of you who have come out on a weekday evening to hear what we can say and to show your resolve for a better Singapore. I'm very proud to be speaking in support of the SDP's Marsiling-Yew team, led by our organizing secretary, Jufri Salim. And wasn't he great? Jijin Wong, Alec Top, and Arifin Shah, our Tamil poet. When SDP first announced our lineup for Marsiling-Yew, someone who I know and respect called me up and sent me a text. And she said, why is the SDP contesting in Marsiling-Yew? We need Lawrence Wong to remain as Prime Minister. And I replied, you know, we don't know whether he's going to move to East Coast or West Coast. It turned out I was wrong. It was actually my classmate, Dr. Tan Si Leng, who was moved from Marine Parade to Choa Chu Kang. And this is what Mr. Ong Ye Kung would call for PAP's political agenda, but not necessarily for the residents of Choa Chu Kang. My friend replied, he is a good man, one of the clearest thinking economists of the senior levels of government. I have no doubt that Mr. Lawrence Wong is an excellent economist, and it's good that he's able to communicate with senior leaders. I met Mr. Lawrence Wong a few years ago when he was guest of honor at a scientific congress that I was organizing. And I discovered we both shared an alma mater at the University of Wisconsin, where he did his undergraduate degree and I did my fellowship training. We both enjoyed the ice cream near the dairy school and also the sitting on the terrace during the summertime. In fact, most people who've interacted with Mr. Lawrence Wong find him pleasant and charming. Just now, you saw, those of you who are watching the live stream while we are going on, that he can be quite emotional as well. But I'm not quite sure that that's what we're looking for right now. What we are looking for is someone who is prepared to make the bold changes to turn Singapore around, to reverse the self-inflicted wounds, in particular the rise GST. The rise from 7% to 9%, together with all the other charges which have severely affected the quality of life of Singaporeans, which my colleagues have talked about just now. I'm not so sure that Mr. Wong is prepared to do that unless, now unless what, you might ask? Unless you send him a message. You, in particular, the voters of Marsiling-Yew. Let me take you back 15 years. In 2010, all the headline economic figures were good. Economic growth was a stunning 14.8% as Singapore achieved a rapid recovery from the great financial crisis of 2008-2009. Unemployment was low, HDB resale price increases were moderate. Yet despite all of these rosy numbers, the reality is that people were experiencing that life was not getting better. This is 2010, okay? People my generation and people a little bit younger can remember. The MRT was breaking down as it was strained by the population increase. Healthcare costs were spiraling out of control, and there was a long queue for HDB flats. Now, voters in the watershed general election of May 2011 sent a powerful message to the PAP. The PAP lost a GRC for the very first time in Aljunied, and Dr. Chi was barred from standing for election or campaigning, but the SDP sent a brand new team to Holland Bukit Timah, and they won 39% of the vote against an experienced PAP team led by Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, one of the Rajas of Rideout. Some of you may remember he ran a smear campaign against the SDP's Winston Wijayasinghe. That did not work. The people of Singapore spoke up. And to their credit, the PAP then responded. They had major changes in housing, transportation. 2 former prime ministers left the cabinet. Other ministers were kind of sacked to take responsibility for the fiascos in transportation, internal security. Remember the Mas Salamat episode where we had a limping man who climbed on a roll of toilet paper and managed to swim across the streets of Johor with a flotation device? You know, that showed that even in Singapore, your vote counts. A lot of people in Singapore say there's no point of voting. 2011 proves that wrong, okay, because the PAP got the message and they made some changes. Unfortunately, after 2011, we had 2 freak elections. We had the 2015 election, which was the post called very soon after the death of Minister Lee Kuan Yew. And then we had the COVID election of 2020 when we couldn't hold rallies like this. We have an opportunity now to allow Singapore to go back on the road to democracy that we started in 2011. It's time to go back with the 2011 general elections, presidential elections, and move Singapore to a place where we can all thrive. That's what we wanted in 2011. And we took a step back 2015 and maybe a little bit forward in 2020. Now, Mr. Wong was quoted in today's Straits Times front page, where he apparently has a regular column, as saying that this GE was about Singaporeans equipping themselves with the best team to take the nation forward. I have to say I agree with him in principle. I do, however, completely disagree with him with the methods. Now, some of you know I'm a great football fan. I grew up watching the Singapore football team play in the Malaysia Cup, the Siap Games in the National Stadium with Kwak Kim Song, who is now married to Sylvia Lim, Dola Kasim, Muhammad Noor, Raja Gopal. As any football fan will tell you, the way to get your football team better is to play against the best. If you try to shift the goalposts, cripple your opponents with professional fouls, change the rules of the game halfway, or cut short your opponent's training time to 28 days after the announcement of fixtures, it's just no good. It's not just no good for the opponents, it's also no good for you. You may win in an unlevel playing field, but once you get into a real game with good opponents, with a stronger opponent, you have to play an away game in new and unfamiliar territory, you fall apart. And we don't want that for Singapore. What we want is for a number of strong opposition candidates, like the SDP candidates, to get elected into Parliament, to help ensure that Singapore does indeed have the best team. In fact, we hope that perhaps 2 or 3 years from now, the team running Singapore will not be wearing white, but will be wearing red. Now here's where I was going to get you in trouble by telling you my analogy about Sir Alex Ferguson and all the managers who followed him. Then I realized that, I would alienate half the crowd, those people who never walk alone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main point of this story, and which is the key points of the SDP's manifesto. And the first T in the manifesto, Thrive, is about taxes. Now, the GST is a really regressive tax. So the median income in Singapore is about $11,000, and average household in Singapore spends about $6,000 for routine expenses. So $6,000, you pay 9% GST, it ends up about $530. And that is actually 4.7% of your income. In contrast, you take the average minister, I think somebody asked that question just now, earns $128,000. Even assuming he lives a luxurious lifestyle, say spending 5 times as much as the average Singaporean, $30,000 a month, they still pay only $2,600 in GST. And this represents only 2% of our income. So basically what I'm trying to say with all that math is that the average person pays a far higher proportion of their income in GST than a high-income person like a minister. And this is clearly unjust. And this is what we're trying to do, which is to get rid of GST for essential items and to bring the GST down to at least 7%, maybe 5%. And what we have shown is that this can be done. We've done our sums, and we've shown that the actual savings or the reduction in the income is actually even less than the budget surplus that has been projected. Now, if you think that we can't do that, people always say, hey, you're not the government, how are you going to bring down the GST? Now, do you know when the vote was taken on the raise in GST, every single opposition MP in Parliament voted against the rise in GST. But there were too few of them. Now, you know what happens, right? You watch today in Parliament, you see half the house is empty. The PAP MPs are either at the toilet or they're running their own business or they're traveling. So there is a possibility that if you get enough opposition MPs in Parliament, that either the PAP MPs will work harder and show up in Parliament, or will be able to block such harmful legislation. So we are not going to be the government now, we're not going to be government in the next election, but maybe 2 elections from now, we will really get a chance to bring you to a Singapore where everybody can thrive. So what the SDP offers is a clear and ethical approach to taxation, which ensures that the needs of defense and internal security and the welfare of the people are taken care of fairly. The wealthy who disproportionately benefit from the safe haven or safe environment provided by Singapore should similarly at least pay a same proportion as the low-income Singaporeans, or ideally they should pay even more. We have a long way to go to reintroducing wealth taxes, including taxes on unearned income, but reducing the GST is one simple way to start the process of ensuring that those who benefit the most do not make the rest of us to pay for them to enjoy what we have built up through your hard work. So the SDP MP will be sure to raise the issues of taxation and its fairness soon after we are elected to Parliament. We would call on you to send a message to our Prime Minister and his team on 3rd May. Vote for the SDP for a better future. Vote for the SDP so you and your family can thrive and not just survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paul Tambaya. Once again, round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the final highlight of tonight, the people's champion, your champion, Dr. G. Sun Juan.
Dr. G! Dr. G! Dr. G! Dr. G!
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight and making yourselves heard. It's especially good to be with all of you because this is our first rally in 10 years. We missed you in the last GE because of COVID-19. I'm so glad to see the back of the pandemic, and may it never happen to the world again. It was a very rough time for everyone. But unfortunately, for many of us, things have remained tough because of some very ill-advised policies that the PAP took in the years following the pandemic. In this election, we have the chance to correct them. My fellow candidates and I will take you through some very important issues, and in the course of the next 7 days, we will lay out clearly where and how the PAP has gone wrong, and more importantly, how we can take our nation back on the winning path again. We will spell out for you an alternative vision for our nation, a vision that is filled with a promise and the hope of an intelligent, resilient, and innovative people, a people filled with a fierce regard for compassion and justice. We will lay out our case, not with fiery rhetoric, but with facts, with reason, with logic, to persuade you to see the importance of electing SDP MPs. When the dark clouds cleared in 21 and 2022, instead of ensuring that Singaporeans emerge stronger and healthier, the government piled on new pressures for the people. For one thing, the PAP insisted on increasing the GST despite the financial hardship that Singaporeans had to endure during the COVID period. In the last GE, the SDP specifically warned the people that we would be facing hardships, significant hardships. And we urged the government to suspend the GST altogether for 1 year and delay the implementation of the GST increase. What we said is all on record. Just Google it. I'm not making it up. But no, Mr. Lawrence Wong insisted on raising the GST to 9%. And when the financial pain started to kick in, he told us that the inflation is due to global trends. And then added that the government is, quote, doing its best to shield you from the worst effects of inflation. Really? The government has been raising prices for almost everything that you use. Let's start with water. The PAP raised water rates twice. Once last year and another one this year. A total of an 18% increase. It already increased water prices by 30% in 2018. And water is not the only item that it increased. In December last year, bus and MRT rates went up by 6%. The government has increased fares every year for the last 5 years, save for 2020. In 2021, the PAP hiked petrol duty by an incredible 23%. And if you think that just because you don't drive, you're not impacted, well, think again. Higher prices at the pump means higher transportation costs for businesses, and that increase in costs is passed down to you, the consumer. ERP rates have been inching up. Electricity and gas rates have also been increasing through the years. So much so that Singapore Power, a government-owned company, has been collecting profits of billions of dollars. Healthcare have escalated in recent years. Between now and 2028, your MediShield life premiums will increase by as much as 35%. PAP town councils all raised their service and conservancy charges in 2023 and then again last year in 2024. The NEA, National Environment Agency, raised your refuse collection fee in 2017 and then in 2022 and again in 2024. Last year, all three universities, NUS, NTU, SMU, all raised their dormitory fees between 7 to 12%. BTO prices have risen steadily over the years. So have childcare fees. And here's the kicker. On top of all these price increases, the government hiked GST to 9%. Does this look like the PAP is trying to shield us from inflation? So why is the PAP raising the GST despite such bleak times? One clue comes from what Mr. Lee Hsien Loong said, and I quote, "What will make you need to raise GST? Profligate spending and irresponsible, unsustainable plans. That is what will hurt and require you to raise taxes and GST," unquote. By the way, profligate spending means recklessly, extravagantly wasteful. And this is one of those rare moments where I agree with Mr. Lee. But it was the PAP's profligate spending that has caused it to have to raise the GST. What do I mean? Take, for instance, the Founders Memorial. If you go to Marina Barrage, you will see a section being cordoned off under construction right now. How much will this memorial cost you? A cool $335 million. And by the time that project is finished, it could cost a lot more. And the memorial is one of those nice to have things, but one that benefits the people very little. Now in 2022, it pledged nearly $1 billion with a B. It pledged $1 billion to the Singapore Press Holdings, bailing out the company that is hemorrhaging money because no one is reading its newspapers. And remember how the government recently wasted $40 million on the failed Simply Go system. Billions more was spent to review the MRT system, only to have its worst breakdown in SMRT's history. Last year, when the East-West line was disrupted for nearly a week. You remember that? And then recently, the government started to replace traffic light crossing buttons to sensory ones, where you don't even have to press the button. You just have to wave at it, and then the light will change. Have you seen those? How much did it cost the public? Again, nice to have, but is it really necessary? Then there is this calendar. Have you received one in your letterbox? I'm sure many of you have. It's beautifully produced, ring bound, hardcover, every page filled with very snazzy pictures of your favorite PAP MP. Who printed it? For me, it was the Bishan Toa Payoh Town Council. Is this the reason why the PAP Town Councils raised the service and conservancy charges for you? And I'm sure many of you have seen those digital display panels in your lift lobby, correct? They are expensive. I know, because I wanted to use them for my restaurant in Orange and Teal. But I was warned that these monitors break down easily and that they're expensive to repair and maintain. And sure enough, a short while after they were installed in my lift lobby, the monitors broke down and they had to be repaired. And they were subsequently taken down and replaced with another model. Imagine the sheer number of these monitors for the hundreds of thousands of lift lobbies across the island. How much money was wasted? And can you remember the nearly 1 million rubbish center that Ms. Grace Fu commissioned to be built? And every single year, the Auditor General's office flagged lapses, poor oversight, and wastage in government agencies when it comes to spending public funds. In some of these cases, police reports were lodged. Now, I cannot list all the examples of wasteful spending because we'll be here till tomorrow morning and then we'll have to buy everybody breakfast. Now, do you believe me when I say PAP is spend big, tax big? They waste, we pay. In the meantime, the ministers continue to collect their $1 million salaries and go and rent bungalows and live a life of luxury, a subject which I will be talking about in subsequent rallies. You won't want to miss what I have to say about this. But the PAP says that it is giving out rebates and vouchers to help people cope with the cost of living. Wait, just wait for a moment. The PAP raises the GST and then tells you that it is giving you vouchers to help you cope with the increased GST? Am I missing something here? Or does this sound like the arsonist that sets your house on fire and then comes and gives you a cup of water to help you put it out? Makes sense to me. All I'm just saying is that just to make sense to me. The truth, my friends, is that the PAP is not the prudent, frugal government that it once was. As I said, waste big, tax big. The new and younger ministers have tasted the high life. And like McDonald's, they're loving it. I repeat, the high cost of living that you are struggling with is not due to some global trends as Mr. Lawrence Wong would have us believe, but in fact, the PAP's very own making. But more importantly, what I want to tell you is that these increases can be reversed. To do this, the SDP proposes that we reduce the GST back to 7% and bring prices back to pre-COVID levels. This is why you need SDP MPs in the next parliament. We will not be fearful when it comes to engaging the PAP on the cost of living. And we will push the government to lower expenses. Costly, wasteful spending on unnecessary projects that don't add value to your lives will be called out. And we will scrutinize the PAP spending. The SDP's message cannot be clearer. We must reduce the cost of living, not just give out vouchers, so that Singaporeans can stress less and live more. We also advocate a minimum wage act, which will help workers earn wages to help them live meaningful lives. My colleagues and I will spell out the details of these proposals in the coming days. And now housing has also become so expensive that even young couples find it difficult to afford BTOs. And when you finish off repaying your loan, by the time you retire, you don't have enough CPF to allow you to live in security. So many of you who have retired have come up to me and told me that you've paid off your HDB loan and now you find that you don't have enough in your CPF to retire on. How can a few $100s from your CPF or from the Silver Support Scheme be enough? Things have become so expensive that we now have to rely on vouchers. The PAP is even selling a carton of eggs for $1. After 60 years of one-party rule, families have to depend on such handouts. How did we come to this? And of course, handing out vouchers and selling $1 eggs is good for the PAP, especially during elections. But do I need to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that special offers are temporary while cost increases are permanent? After it coaxes you to swallow the pill, meaning that it gets your vote, you're the one that has to deal with the poison in your body. No, my fellow Singaporeans, don't yield to temptation. The SDP will show you the way to a better future. I repeat, we must substantially and meaningfully lower the cost of living so that Singaporeans can live secure and fulfilled lives. You shouldn't have to depend on vouchers to survive. The SDP wants you to thrive, not just survive. We want you to get ahead, not just get by. Now I've shown you facts, my friends. Just the facts. No need for any side dressing. No need for any chili sauce or gravy. Just plain verifiable facts. Because these facts speak for themselves. To me, the most important thing is that when you walk into the voting booth next Saturday, you walk in with the necessary information to cast an intelligent vote. As I said, the SDP wants Singapore to thrive. In the coming days, we will spell out exactly how we are going to go about this. For now, I want to point out that the only thing that is stopping us from flourishing, from thriving as an economy, as a society, as a people, is fear. Unfounded fear. The fear that somehow without the PAP having 90% of the seats in the House, Singapore will crumble. Or that without the PAP in charge of the town council, your estate will be in shambles. No. Don't live in fear. No society living in fear has ever thrived. In fact, it was your fear that put you in the difficult position in the first place. the more you fear, the worse your quality of life. Our alternative plan, our alternative vision will lift Singapore to new heights, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, not just in profits, but in purpose. In the way we dance, in the way we sing, in the way we dream and dare. The PAP offers fear. We offer hope. They say be careful. We say be courageous. They say stand in line. We say break free. They say this is as good as it gets. We say just wait. Just wait until we rise together. I see it, my friends. I feel it. I feel the fire in our people, the brilliance in our youth, the strength in our workers, the compassion in our community. Singapore has what it takes to stand tall and to compete among and against the best in the world. But we will never reach the sky if we keep clinging to the ground. We cannot fly if we allow fear to hold us down by our ankles. I'm asking you, my fellow Singaporeans, in this election, choose courage. Choose to live fully and rise boldly. Are you ready, my friends? Are you ready to spread your wings? Are you ready to soar? Then let us be the eagle, undaunted, unafraid, unstoppable, not the mouse that trembles in a dark hole in the ground. Come with SDP. Walk with us. Dream with us. Fight with us. I have been. Thank you. I have been dreaming for a better Singapore. And I have been fighting for this country all my life. And I've never regretted 1 minute of it. Come with me. And I promise that together we will build a Singapore that doesn't just survive, but one that shines, one that soars, and one that thrives. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Chi, and thank you, everybody. Lastly, we'd like to invite some of our staunchest supporters to come on stage to present a garland to Dr. Chi, please. Round of applause. Thank you everyone, and before the mic is cut off, I would like to once again implore you to help the team by purchasing merchandise from the centages over there. And if you are participating in our next rallies, please help by also wearing red color. Tomorrow the rally will be at Bukit Panjang Beacon Primary School. See you all tomorrow evening, and thank you for your presence here tonight. Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen.